Erev Tov, everyone. This week, we begin the final book of our annual Torah reading cycle, the book of Devarim, or in English, Deuteronomy. The whole book of Deuteronomy is set as an extended speech that Moses gives to his people, just as the Israelites are about to cross over the Jordan and possess the land. As we've already learned, Moses will not be going with them, so he reviews the history of the Exodus, the travels, the rebellions, and the battles, along with restatements of many laws and some new ones. Here Moses tells the Israelites one more time his story. I've always been incredibly fond of stories, particularly the stories that people tell about their lives, the way they tell them, their point of views, and how they perceive the world around them, both today and yesterday. Even the most unbelievable big fish stories that I have ever heard contain great truths. Around Jewish dinner tables, for centuries, families have shared incredible stories with each other, stories about their past and generations that came before them, stories of their daily lives, sometimes accompanied with laughter or tears. The hopes and dreams that families share with each other is a precious ritual that has sustained us as a people, just as the stories of our ancestors have sustained us in the form of the Torah for millennia. Sadly, sometimes we need to be reminded of the importance of stories among family, and the lure of the television and the computer and video games has become incredibly hard for families to resist, particularly in this time of social isolation. My fear is that during this time, the voices of our elders may not be heard. It has been my observation that there are times in which our young people are often too shy to share their hopes and dreams with our older generations, and our elders are often unsure if the wisdom they hold won't fall on deaf ears. Our people and our families, it seems, have forgotten how to talk. But if we look carefully at our portion, we might notice some amazing inspiration. The Gaon of Vilna points out that in the first 5 verses that we read, there's an introduction to the whole book. 3 times we're told that Moses spoke. Ela hadevarim asher diber Moshe. These are the words which Moses spoke. Diber Moshe el bnei Yisrael. Moses spoke to the children of Israel. Ho'il Moshe be'er et haTorah hazot. Moses was willing to explain this Torah. This statement, though it seems simple, is anything but. Let us reflect back 40 years in this man's history, before the desert, before the Exodus, to a life as a simple shepherd. We find a man, by his own admission, with little skill in speaking, commanded by God out of the burning bush to confront Pharaoh and lead his people out of slavery. Moses responds by saying, Bi Adonai, lo ish devarim anochi. Adonai, it is not in me, for I am not a man of words. Clearly, telling his story wasn't easy for Moses. But like Moses, we must learn to speak. We must pass on our stories and our hopes and dreams from one generation to another. This week in our Torah reading cycle marks the beginning of the end of a great story. It is the final speech of a great leader. We find Moses standing before his people, unable to step foot in the lands that he had struggled so hard to arrive, and gently he reminds us who we are, where we came from, and where we're going. What he is in fact doing is creating a new beginning from his ending. He is passing his story and the story of the generations before him to the next generation, and on, so that they too can benefit from the wisdom and teaching that remains. Perhaps it is that this is the perfect time for us to share our stories, to sit for a while on the phone or over Zoom and truly share what is in our hearts, what is in our past, and what we hope for our future. For we know the tender words we speak can be our lasting legacy. Shabbat Shalom.